Hey everyone, this is Mike, and welcome back to Miskatonic Investigations. Today we're going to talk about lake monsters. So New York has had its fair share of lake monsters, so specifically Lake Georgie, and Lake Champlain, Champy. We've actually had some sea monsters too. Off the coast of Long Island, the Eastern Seaboard, there have been ships usually in the 1800s that had identified some what they call sea monsters or sea serpents. But New York does have its own lake monsters. We have the Great Lakes that we share with other states that border it, but Lake Champlain is the most well known, and Champy is said to inhabit, just like the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, and again, even Lake George, as Georgie, as he's affectionately known. So what these creatures could be, if anything, is up for debate. Are they just misidentifications, natural phenomenon, mutations, hoaxes, or some, again, remnants of sea animals that have survived into the present? Perhaps not what we think of like dinosaurs, that people think that the Jurassic, the plesiosaur, things like that. Perhaps not that, but some other older amphibious creature, or fish that has survived and has in its own prehistoric or ancient form that we thought was extinct, and it is not. The famous coelacanth that was discovered 1938 was thought to be extinct for millions of years, and it turned out not to be. So perhaps it could be something like that, or again, perhaps it can be nothing. But people have reported this, and we're talking about serious and sober people who, in a court of law, their word would be taken seriously. So are they there? We don't know. Could there be other creatures? Could there be underground lakes and underground rivers? Scientists recently discovered beneath the mantle on the Earth that there might be huge oceans. They discovered that perhaps under the deserts in the out west, there might be an underground river. They're talking about in Saudi Arabia, there might be an underground river with fresh water. So deep down, who knows what they are. There's a lot of sinkholes throughout South America where they think animals could be, even giant octopus could be living in these kind of, if you've ever seen them, pictures of them, they have these like huge sinkholes in the forests in Central and South America. And people sometimes report diving into these sinkholes, it's fresh water, and then they get pulled down. And like, what's down there pulling them down? And some people think maybe it's giant octopus or squid, perhaps, or at least creatures that have adapted to fresh water, unless seawater seeps in somehow, and maybe it's salt water or brackish. So we don't really know. Are there caves? Are there underground ways that these creatures can get in and out? Maybe they don't live in the lake. A lot of people say, there's not enough food in the lake. There's not enough room to sustain a population. And that does seem to be true. So perhaps they're getting in and out through some underwater cave system or some other means that we don't know about, if in fact they are there and exist. But yes, again, New York, it's upstate New York. Obviously, we don't have that in the East River or the Hudson River. Down in the city, it's way too busy. It would be very unlikely to have that. We have had our own alligators in the sewers, urban legends, which had some degree of truth to them, at least in the 20s or 30s. And all sorts of things are found down there, but we wouldn't classify them as monsters, but there are things down there. So if you or anyone you know has any reports or stories about that, please let me know, and I'd be happy to talk to you. I'd also be happy to take a trip up there to investigate. Who wouldn't want to go to beautiful upstate New York and see the Great Lakes, perhaps not during the cold of winter, but at another time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little short video today, but I did want to let you know about some of the creatures, lake creatures, and even sea monsters and other things that have occurred in New York State. All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks.